We always talk about our climate, our context, all that. It's like we can't control those things. We need to respect the hell out of them and work with it. There's just too many times where a farmer says, oh, that's unfortunate, there's nothing I can do. It's like, well, you weren't living in your context. We want to stay on this land. We want it set up for generations. And we know in order for that to happen, it needs to be brought back to what it used to be. We can't farm it conventionally because we're going to run into the same issues that everyone else is having. This year, the grasses really came with with all the leaves.
Eli is a third generation farm in this area, but if you go back in the history of my family, he is actually the 6th or 7th generation that has been in eastern South Dakota. So we feel like this is a legacy that's been passed down since 1880 when the first relative homesteaded south of Watertown, South Dakota. The near-term history of our family, my dad graduated north of Watertown from Waverly High School, and then he bought his first farm in 1946, which was up north of here, and then he bought another farm west of Cones Corner a year later, and in 1959 he moved to what we call the River Farm, which is kind of the center of Eli's and my operation. It's right on the banks of the Big Sioux River. My father, being a conventional rancher farmer, he had pastures along the edge of the river, and then he farmed everything that was a distance away from the river. So our cows ran up and down the bank of the river year-round, which we now understand is not ideal. So we now have a corridor on the Big Sioux River, 180 feet average on each side of the river, which is in a riparian area to keep farmer impact off of it, whether it's farming or whether it's livestock. When you compare what our mile of the Big Sioux looks like compared to our neighbors to the north and the south, it's a night and day difference.
Well, we always have been diversified with land and cattle, having cropland and cattle at the same time, and a lot of that was just because of having river bottom ground that should be pasture. But it was thinking beyond that, how the cattle can help the cropland, and we can work together, and thinking outside the box, thinking beyond conventional wisdom.
It's been really fun working with Barry and Eli for the past 2 years. They think outside the box when it comes to cover crops, really highly diverse and multi-species mixes. They like to graze their cover crops as well, and they're always coming with new ideas.
Just doing things that are different, doing things that excite us, and doing things that make us profitable.
Over there on the counter.
So if we go back to 1984, when I started farming as a partner with my brother Donnie, just off the cuff, we decided that every year opening day of pheasant season was a holiday.
Shrink your cheeks down on the barrel, look down the barrel at the feed. This clay pigeon is going to fly.
And even if we were busy combining something, we shut down for the day. And we invited all of our friends to come and hunt on the land that our father had purchased first, and then we had started to build up our own farms. As the years went by, we realized that we needed to do some stuff to enhance our wildlife, especially our pheasant hunting. So we just arbitrarily set aside 15 acres that we planted to food plots every year so that at least there'd be some pheasants in our food plots.
There's that mindset that you can't have production ag and wildlife at the same time, but that's just a myth. and we work hard to make sure that our land is welcoming to wildlife.
Well, Isaac, is special needs, and he did move back here in 2017. We'd had him in different places. And he needed things to do. And so he has chores on the farm. And one of his chores is taking care of the chickens, and he takes great pride in that. And Eli is wonderful too, of course. He's the one that farms with Barry and his wife and my 3 darling granddaughters.
My favorite animal on the farm is a pig.
Pigs or cows. They're really interesting to watch them run around and stuff.
We couldn't be happier about where the next generation is.
I swore I was never going to marry a farmer.
Brought her back here, and we've made a life here.
I think we are very fortunate to have the life that we do on the farm.
We want to stay on this land. We want it set up for generations, and we know in order for that to happen, it needs to be brought back to what it used to be.
Without the South Dakota Grassland Coalition and the South Dakota Soil Health Coalition, we probably wouldn't have gotten access to an awful lot of excellent material.
It's working for us, and I know it will. If we can get through tough times, we can strive in good times, and it'll set us up for the future. It'll set families up for the future.